I don't know if this is my largest skillet or not. It doesn't look like it. I have to double check that. But anyhow, you're going to need 2 pounds of ground turkey. Now, if you are feeding a smaller crowd, you may only need 1 pound of ground turkey, but because I'm feeding the army, I'm using 2. And the only thing that I am using to season this is the Cavender's all-purpose Greek seasoning. This is my family's absolutely favorite seasoning, and I'll hold it closer to the camera so you guys can see what it looks like. But that's what it looks like. It's Cavender's. I think a lot of you are probably pretty familiar. You can get it at Walmart. I've seen it at Target, Kroger. I just want to sprinkle about 2.5 tablespoons. You know, you want to season your meat according to how you like it. I want to get some heat underneath my skillet. I'm going to turn it on medium. I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil in there because turkey doesn't necessarily have a lot of fat. And I'm going to get my hands in the turkey meat, and all I want to do is make like patties. And I want to get that in there in the skillet. And I try to make at least, you know, 5 nice sized patties because there's 5 of us and I'm feeding big guys that come to the table hungry. So I want to make sure that the patties are pretty nice sized. What I do with this now is I just want to pop my lid on, and I just want to cook these until just done. And while our burgers are cooking up, we are going to go ahead and get a side dish done, or get it going, so that when this gets done, we have a side dish. I have about 2 tablespoons of vegetable shortening. You do not have to use vegetable shortening if you don't want to, but that is what my mother always used, and I found it to be very effective in this recipe. Now, I have shot this recipe already, but I just thought I'm going to show you how I put together a quick, easy meal. You guys asked me to do these videos for y'all, and so I aim to please. Now, I just washed my potatoes thoroughly, and I just cut them into thin slices, and I just want to put those slices around inside this pan. Right on top of the shortening, because that shortening is going to melt, and then you're not going to even have to worry about it anymore. I just want to fill this up. You don't want to fill it up too full because you want to be able to put a lid on, so I try to squish it in there as much as I can. And of course, depending on how many you are going to serve, that will depend on how many potatoes you want to put in here. There we go. Now I'm going to add about a cup of water to that. Just like that. And I'm going to add a little bit of salt right on top of the potatoes, and some cracked pepper. Now you can add some garlic, but I'm not going to add garlic today. I'm just going to keep it kind of plain because it's going to be served with the gravy. And then you want to find your lid, the one that was not the right one. I don't know where I set it, but I'll find it, and we'll put the lid on that. We'll let our burgers continue cooking, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I couldn't find the lid, so I just went ahead and placed a piece of foil over the top. If you don't have a lid, that'll work fine. I'm going to set my timer for my potatoes for about 15 minutes, and then I'm going to check them with a fork to see how soft they are. I just flipped my burgers, And I turned down the heat to medium because it's really roaring right now. So I'm probably going to let these cook another 5 to 10 minutes, and then I'll show you what the next step is. Okay, you can add onion to your potatoes if you want to, but because I'm going to be adding onion to my burgers, I don't want to add any onion to this, and because I think it'll be too much. My husband doesn't like a tremendous amount of onion, but a little goes a long ways, y'all. So I'm gonna make sure you guys can see all of this in the camera. Okay, so I've got my burgers in here on medium heat, and I'm pretty sure they're near done. So I want to go ahead and take my lid off, and be careful because it's going to fill up with steam and you don't want to get burned. I've got 1 container of sliced mushrooms and 1 large onion, and I'm going to add that to my skillet, just like that. And onion and mushrooms don't take any time at all, and when I do my monthly prep, sometimes I just go ahead and just slice these up so that I have them ready for whenever I get ready to cook dinner. In this bowl, I have 1 can of cream of mushroom soup, and then I filled the can up with a with whole milk, and I'm just going to pour that over top of my mushroom soup, and I just want to stir this till it's really good and blended. Just like that. And then I'm going to add that over top of my onions and everything, my burgers. All right, I'm going to put the lid on this, and I'm going to let this cook until this is all good and combined and cooked up. And by that time, my potatoes should be done. I'm going to heat up a can of green beans to serve with this, and I'll show you guys what it looks like on the plate. Dinner is served. We have the potatoes, and I made sweet peas instead of the green beans. And let me switch this around for you guys so you guys can see the hamburger. And the hamburger has the mushrooms and the gravy and the onions. It's going to be super delicious. Hope you all enjoyed this meal, and I'll see you for the next one. It's another evening, and I wanted to share with you guys another very simple dinner to fix your family. And the first thing we want to start out with is putting our white rice on, because that's going to be our side. So if you've never made white rice before on your stove, it's really simple. I usually make about 2 cups, but I'm serving 5 people, so keep that in mind. So I do 2 cups of white rice to 4 cups of water. I'm going to get my water here. That's 3. And 1 more. Okay, I'm going to give this a quick stir with a spoon just to make sure I got it all in there. And then I'm going to bring this up to a boil. And as soon as it starts boiling, I'm going to turn the heat off. I'm going to put a plate on top of it, and it's going to take exactly 15 minutes for that rice to get done. Okay, so right now I have 2 small green peppers and 1 large onion in this skillet, and I just want to saute this a little bit. I gotta turn on the heat. But basically what we are going to do is just saute these until they are not crunchy, but not super, super soft either, because I kind of like them a little bit more of a whole state in this recipe. And then once we get our peppers and onions to that place, if you guys have watched my prep videos, you guys know that I freeze meatballs, and I make a lot of meatballs ahead of time. And this is a bag of them that I had in the freezer that I allowed to thaw early this morning. And I'm going to add this to this and make a sweet and sour sauce. It'll be a delicious and simple meal. Okay, so my peppers and onions are done like I like, and I'm going to put in my meatballs. Now remember, my meatballs are fully cooked. And depending on how many people you are serving will depend on, what size this needs to be and how many meatballs. But for us, I count about 6 meatballs per person that I am feeding in this house. But they're all guys and they're big eaters, so just to let you guys know. So for the sauce, it's really simple. I do ketchup, and I'm going to say about a cup of ketchup, a couple tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. And remember, if you get it too tart, add more honey. If it's if it's too sweet, add a little more vinegar. So really and truly, I've been making this a really long time, so I kind of have an idea. So I'm going to add my honey to this, and that's what gives it its good sweetness. You can also add, if you like spicy, you can add a few squirts of sriracha, but my husband doesn't like it, so I just put it on mine because I like stuff hot. I like stuff spicy. So you want to get all your meatballs and your vegetables all combined in the sauce, and then we're going to put the lid on this, and we're going to let this simmer just till everything is warmed through. Okay, let me back you back just a little bit here. Okay, so my rice is all done. I'm going to show you guys what that looks like. You got to be careful when you take your lid off because the steam builds up in there and then it will burn you. So take it off really quickly. And you can see the rice is done. It's nice and cooked. And it's perfect every time. My husband says, you always make the best rice, but to be honest with you, I learned how to make rice from Food Network. So it does pay off to watch some of those shows on there. So here we go. I've got my sweet and sour meatballs, and I'm going to serve this up. So we're going to do some rice, and probably should have left it on the burner so it wouldn't scoot everywhere. Let me move it here. My guys like a good bit of rice with their meal, and I do too, because the sauce with this rice is delicious. Here we go. Hopefully the steam's not steaming up my camera. And then I also want to say that if you feel that your sauce is too runny, you can stir in just a little tiny bit of flour and it will thicken it. But I have honestly never felt the need to do that. So we're going to serve this right on top here. Just like this with the peppers and the sauce. You want to make sure you get plenty of sauce on here. And there's your meal. Let me see if I can show you guys a close-up here. There we go. That's what it looks like. It's going to be really, really delicious.